Have you ever wondered what would happen if you put everyone's dreams before your own, only to realize no one noticed what you gave up? It's 5:22 a.m. in Seattle, Washington. The city is still draped in that silvery haze that comes just before sunrise, and a steady rain patters softly against the windows of the Ellington family's two-story home. Inside, at the kitchen table, Maya Ellington sits alone. Her right hand moves in gentle arcs across a thick sketch pad, pencil gliding over paper, shaping the contours of a house she's imagined 1,000 times but never built. The table is cluttered with coffee mugs and a vase of tired daisies, their petals drooping like heavy eyelids. Maya's face, framed by loose brown curls, is set in quiet concentration. The world outside is waking up, but for a brief moment, this is her world. A world of clean lines, open spaces, sunlit rooms that exist only in graphite and memory. She pauses to shade a window, her eyes narrowing as she considers a new angle. The kitchen clock ticks, and the refrigerator hums, but Maya is lost in the possibility of what could have been. The spell breaks abruptly at 5:45 a.m. Upstairs, the thud of teenage footsteps signals the start of another day. Maya's pencil stills. She lets out a soft sigh, closes her sketchbook, and slips it under a pile of unopened mail. Out of sight, out of mind. She stands, stretching, and glances at the rain-streaked window. Across the street, headlights flicker past. A neighbor on an early commute. The city is awake now, and so is Maya's sense of duty. By 6 a.m., the house is alive with motion. Maya moves through the kitchen with practiced efficiency, frying eggs, buttering toast, slicing strawberries, and packing 2 lunches. She slides an extra protein bar into Leo's bag, remembering how he forgot to eat last week before robotics club. She fills a thermos with Ivy's favorite cinnamon tea, double-checking that there's enough honey, just the way her daughter likes it. The air is filled with the scent of brewing coffee and the low murmur of the radio, reporting on drizzle and traffic jams. Maya hums a tune under her breath, something Ivy played on the piano last night, while she juggles breakfast and reminders. "Mom, have you seen my audition forms?" Ivy's voice floats down the staircase, tinged with anxiety. Maya wipes her hands on a towel and meets Ivy in the hallway. Her daughter, 17, stands with a stack of sheet music in one hand and her phone in the other, hair pulled back in a messy bun. "They're in the blue folder, top of your desk," Maya says, smoothing Ivy's sleeve. "And don't forget your umbrella. It's supposed to rain all day." Ivy offers a distracted smile, already half absorbed in her own world of music and college applications. "Thanks, Mom. You're a lifesaver." Maya's chest tightens with a mix of pride and something she can't quite name. Leo, 14, shuffles into the kitchen next. He's still rubbing sleep from his eyes, his headphones already around his neck. "Morning," he mumbles, reaching for toast. "Did you finish your robotics project?" Maya asks, pouring him a glass of juice. He shrugs, not meeting her gaze. "Almost. I just need to tweak the code before school." Maya nods, resisting the urge to press further. She knows the boundaries. With Leo, too many questions mean closed doors. At 6:30 a.m., Julian Ellington descends the stairs, already dressed in a crisp button-down and slacks. He checks the notifications on his phone, brow furrowed, only half present. "Morning," he says, planting a quick kiss on Maya's cheek. His eyes flick to the kitchen table, but he barely registers the closed sketchbook. "Coffee's ready," Maya offers, pouring him a cup. Julian glances at his watch. "I've got an early call." "Thanks, hun." He grabs a slice of toast, juggling his laptop bag and umbrella as he heads for the door. "I'll see you tonight. Don't forget Ivy's audition is at 4. "Of course," Maya replies, a gentle smile fixed on her lips. "Good luck at work." The door swings shut behind him. Maya's smile fades. She stands in the kitchen, listening as the rain intensifies outside, the sound masking the quiet in her chest. By 7 a.m., the house is empty except for her. The breakfast plates are stacked, lunch is packed, and the morning chaos has dissolved into silence. Maya lingers in the kitchen, fingers tracing the edge of her closed sketchbook. For a moment, she considers opening it again, just a few more minutes with her dreams, but the phone rings, jolting her back. It's Camila Torres, Maya's best friend since college. Her voice is bright despite the hour, crackling through the speakerphone as Maya loads the dishwasher. "Guess what?" Camila says, the background noise of her own kitchen echoing through the line. "I landed the graphic design project for the city's community center. They're looking for more volunteers. You should submit your portfolio." "Serious?" Maya laughs, a little self-conscious. "My portfolio?" "Cam, I haven't designed anything real in years. I'm not even sure where half of my old sketches are." "Don't do that," Camilla interrupts. "You're brilliant. Remember that treehouse you designed for Ivy's 5th birthday? Or the reading nook you built for Leo? You always have ideas. You just need a chance." Maya leans against the counter, watching the rain pour down the window in shimmering rivulets. She can almost see herself, 10 years ago, sketching out blueprints in bustling coffee shops, her mind brimming with possibility. But that was before Julian's promotion, before Ivy's music lessons, before Leo's robotics kits, and late-night homework. Maybe, Maya says finally, voice soft. I don't know. The kids have so much going on. Julian's busier than ever. It's just not the right time. It's never the right time, Camilla says gently. But it's never too late, either. They talk a few minutes longer, about Camilla's deadlines, her son's soccer team, the latest neighborhood gossip. When the call ends, the kitchen feels quieter than before. Maya moves through the rest of her morning on autopilot. She wipes down countertops, folds laundry, organizes the recycling. She pauses by the living room window, watching as joggers splash through puddles and delivery vans rumble down the street. The city is alive with movement, but Maya feels like she's standing still. She drifts into the small sunroom at the back of the house, a space she once dreamed of turning into her own studio. The walls are lined with family photos, school awards, and Ivy's handwritten music notes. Maya sinks onto the window seat, pulling her knees to her chest. She gazes at the empty drawing board propped against the wall. Its surface is pristine, untouched. A wave of longing rises in her throat, sharp and unexpected. She remembers the thrill of her first architecture class, the late nights spent drafting floor plans, the way her professors used to say she had an eye for space. She remembers the way she felt, capable, creative, seen. Now, years later, she wonders, is it selfish to want something for yourself when you love your family this much? The question echoes in her mind as the rain drums on, blurring the city outside. Maya closes her eyes, picturing the home she'd design if she could, full of light, open spaces, a place where every member of her family could thrive, including herself. The front door rattles in the wind. Maya stands, smoothing the wrinkles in her shirt, and heads back to the kitchen. She has a grocery list to write, dinner to plan, and errands to run before the kids come home. Her sketchbook remains hidden under the mail, its pages closed for now. But the question lingers, quietly persistent, as Maya moves through her day. What happens to the dreams you set aside for others? And how long can you go unnoticed before you start to disappear, even from yourself? Outside, the rain continues, steady and unrelenting, as Maya steps out into the world, her reflection a faint blur in the glass, her hopes tucked neatly out of sight. The kitchen was quiet again, save for the rhythmic ticking of the wall clock and the distant hiss of rain against the glass. Maya stood at the sink, her hands submerged in warm water as she rinsed the last of the breakfast plates. The remnants of the morning rush, a dropped jacket on a chair, a coffee cup with a lipstick stain, a half-eaten slice of toast, remained as silent witnesses to another day's beginning. Outside, the neighborhood had begun to stir, cars idling, dog walkers passing by with umbrellas, and the distant hum of the city coming alive beneath a blanket of gray clouds. She glanced at her phone. It was 8:13 a.m. Julian had texted a brief thank you for the lunch she'd packed, followed by a string of meeting notifications. Ivy's "Love you, Mom" lingered in her mind, but already she knew her daughter would be buried in college application essays and music rehearsals by now. Leo's side of the breakfast table was scattered with a few stray wires and a half-assembled robotics kit. He'd asked if she could pick up some extra batteries from the store. Maya wiped her hands, returned to the kitchen table, and carefully slid her sketch pad out of sight. She tucked it into a drawer near the back, as if hiding a secret that no one had asked about in years. The day unfolded as it always did, methodical, predictable, invisible. At 9:00 a.m., Maya zipped her navy raincoat and stepped outside, her boots splashing in shallow puddles along the sidewalk. The sky hung low and heavy, but the familiar rhythm of her routine kept her moving. She stopped at the neighborhood grocery store, greeted with polite nods from neighbors she'd known for years. Mrs. Landry from 2 doors down offered a smile and a half-hearted, "Busy as always, Maya?" Before turning to scan the shelves for her own groceries. Maya paused in the produce aisle, studying the apples. She overheard fragments of conversation, a couple planning a weekend trip, a young woman talking about a new job. No one asked Maya what she was working on, what she dreamed about, or whether she'd ever done anything just for herself. At the checkout, the clerk, barely out of high school, offered a mechanical, "Have a great day, Mrs. Ellington." Maya smiled, wondering if she'd ever been anything but Mrs. Ellington to anyone here. By noon, she was back home, groceries unpacked and a pot of soup simmering on the stove. The house was silent except for the rain, which had grown heavier, drumming insistently on the roof. She checked her phone again. No new messages. She sat at the kitchen table, staring at her folded hand, feeling the weight of the quiet settle over her. Her phone vibrated. Camilla's name flashed on the screen. Maya answered, grateful for the interruption. Hey, Camilla. Hey, Maya. Listen, I just saw the flyer for the community center's new project. Did you get my text? Maya hesitated. I did. I'm not sure. Camilla's voice was bright but persistent. Maya, this is perfect for you. They're looking for someone to help redesign the park entrance. You have that whole portfolio from before. Why not submit it? It's not like you've forgotten how to draw blueprints. Maya laughed softly, her hand drifting to the drawer where her sketch pad was hidden. It's been a long time, Camilla. I don't even know if they'd want someone like me. What do you mean, someone like you? You mean someone who's crazy talented and has spent the last decade managing a household like it's a Fortune 500 company? Camilla's tone softened. Look, I know you're busy, but your kids are older now. You deserve this, Maya. At least think about it. Maya promised she would, even as she felt a familiar twist in her stomach. Guilt, doubt, the sense that if she did something for herself, she'd be stealing time from her family. She ended the call, the screen fading to black in her hand. She sat for a moment, watching the steam spiral from her mug of tea. The rain made the whole world seem smaller, quieter, as if it were possible to disappear into the background of her own life. Just after 2 p.m., she drove to the community center to pick up Ivy from her music lesson. The parking lot was crowded, rain pooling in uneven patches across the asphalt. As she waited, she watched people come and go. Parents in business suits, retirees with canvas tote bags, a group of teenagers laughing as they dashed inside, rainwater flying from their sneakers. Inside, the center buzzed with activity, children's laughter echoing from the gym, the clatter of chairs being arranged for a meeting. Maya spotted the flyer Camilla had mentioned, tacked to a bulletin board by the entrance. Community Park Redesign, seeking creative volunteers. The deadline for portfolio submissions was in 3 days. Ivy appeared, violin case slung over her shoulder, hair damp from the drizzle. Hey, Mom, can we get something quick to eat? I have to finish that essay for Ms. Parker. Of course, Maya replied, falling into step beside her daughter. In the car, Ivy scrolled through her phone, barely glancing up. Did you see the email from the college counselor? She wants us to schedule another meeting. Maya nodded. We'll do that tonight. And don't forget, your dad will be late again. Yeah, he texted me. Another deadline at work, Ivy said. Not unkindly, just matter of fact. He's always busy, but he said he'll try to make it home for dinner. The conversation drifted. Maya considered mentioning the community project but hesitated. Ivy was already so consumed by her own ambitions. Would she even care? Back home, Leo was at the kitchen table, hunched over a laptop, wires and tiny motors spread out before him. He looked up briefly as Maya set a plate of sandwiches beside him. Thanks, Mom. Did you get the batteries? She smiled. In the bag by the door. He nodded and returned to his project, tapping away at the keyboard. Maya watched him, remembering when he used to beg her to build Lego cities with him. Now, he built his own worlds, content in his solitude. The afternoon passed in a blur of chores, laundry, tidying up, answering emails about Ivy's school forms. Through it all, Maya's thoughts kept circling back to the flyer at the community center, the sketch pad in her drawer, and the growing sense that she was living on the periphery of her own life. As evening settled in, the house filled with the scent of garlic and tomatoes. Maya stirred pasta sauce on the stove, glancing at the clock. Julian was late again. She set the table for 4, arranging the plates with a care that felt both habitual and unnecessary. Ivy drifted in, headphones around her neck, and Leo emerged from his room, hands still stained with ink from his robotics kit. They ate in near silence, the only sounds the clink of silverware and the rain against the windows. Maya tried to start a conversation, but Ivy's responses were distracted, and Leo seemed more interested in the mechanics of his fork than in family news. At 8:15 p.m., Julian finally arrived, shoulders tense, apology etched into the lines of his face. Sorry, everyone. The project is a mess. We had to push the deadline again. He kissed Maya's cheek, barely registering the disappointment that flickered across her face. It's okay, Maya said, forcing a smile. We saved you some pasta. Julian sat, rubbing his eyes. Thanks, love. You're a lifesaver. They finished dinner, the sense of disconnect lingering in the air. As Maya cleared the plates, Julian scrolled through his phone, answering emails between bites. Later, as she folded laundry in the quiet of the living room, Julian entered, holding a small gift bag. Maya, He hesitated, glancing at his watch. I'm sorry. I forgot our anniversary until just now. Work's been... You know how it is. She looked at the bag, a hastily wrapped bottle of perfume inside. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Thank you, Julian. It's beautiful. He kissed her forehead, already distracted by another work notification. Happy anniversary. When he left the room, Maya sat down on the couch, the perfume bottle resting in her lap. She stared at it, wrestling with a tangle of emotions: gratitude, resentment, longing. She picked up her phone and dialed Camilla. Hey, you busy? Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Never too busy for you. How'd your day go? Maya hesitated. It was normal. Julian forgot our anniversary. Ivy's buried in schoolwork. Leo's building something for robotics club. I feel like I'm just here, like a ghost. Camilla was quiet for a moment. You're not a ghost, Maya. You're just tired. But you need to do something for yourself. Have you thought more about the park project? You could drop your portfolio at the center tomorrow. Maya's heart fluttered. I don't know. I keep thinking, what if they laugh at me? Or worse, what if my family needs me and I'm not there? Camilla's reply was gentle, but firm. You've built a beautiful life for them, but you're allowed to build something for yourself too. Just try. For you. The conversation lingered with Maya long after she hung up. She sat in the dark, the city lights flickering through rain-streaked windows, the sound of laughter and music drifting from Ivy's room, the low hum of Julian's conference call echoing down the hall. The next morning, the rain had eased to a steady drizzle. Maya drove to the community center, portfolio on the passenger seat. Her hands trembled as she parked, engine idling, windshield wipers ticking in time with her heartbeat. She stared at the entrance, the flyer still visible through the glass doors. She could see people inside, someone setting up for an event, children playing in the hallway, volunteers chatting over coffee. Maya's fingers traced the worn edges of her portfolio, memories flooding back, late nights in her college dorm sketching blueprints, the thrill of seeing her designs come to life, the moment she'd chosen family over career, believing it was a temporary pause. Now, the pause had lasted for years. She hesitated, torn between stepping inside or turning back. The weight of her family's routines, their reliance on her, pressed down like the thick Seattle clouds overhead. What would happen if, just this once, she chose herself? The rain tapped gently on the windshield, a soft, steady rhythm. Maya closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. If you've ever found yourself putting someone else's dreams before your own, you're not alone. Maya's story is just beginning, and she's not the only one facing this choice. If you relate, hit subscribe and let us know in the comments. What would you do in Maya's place? Would you step out of the car and into the life you once dreamed of, or turn back to the comfort of what you know? With her hand on the door handle, Maya sat, caught between the life she'd built and the life she'd left behind, as the rain continued to fall. The sound of rain intensifies against the kitchen windows as the Ellington house glows with the soft, golden light of early evening. Maya stands at the stove, stirring a pot of tomato soup, her eyes flickering to the digital clock on the microwave. 6:37 p.m. She glances over her shoulder at the dining table, meticulously set. Ceramic bowls, folded napkins, slices of sourdough bread stacked neatly on a wooden board. The air is thick with the scent of simmering basil and garlic, but beneath it lingers something heavier. Anticipation. Unease. Julian's keys jangle in the front door. Leo's muffled laughter drifts from the living room, where he's hunched over a laptop, robotic parts spread across the coffee table. Ivy sits at the table, earbuds in, scrolling through sheet music on her phone. Maya wipes her hands on her apron, steadying herself. Julian enters, rain clinging to his jacket, hair damp and slightly askew. He offers a distracted smile, setting his bag by the door. Sorry I'm late, everyone. Traffic was a nightmare. He barely looks up as he checks a message on his phone. Maya forces a lightness into her voice. Dinner's ready. The family gathers, bowls filled, bread passed around. The clinking of spoons and low hum of conversation fill the room. Maya watches them, Ivy humming absent-mindedly, Leo absently nodding along, Julian's gaze fixed on the glowing screen of his phone. She feels as if she's watching a play from behind a curtain, present but invisible. She clears her throat, her fingers tightening around her spoon. I wanted to talk to you all about something. Julian glances up, brows raised. Ivy doesn't look away from her phone. Leo pauses, mid-bite. Maya's heart hammers in her chest. There's a project at the community center, a restoration of the old library wing. They're looking for volunteer architects to help with the design. Camilla told me about it. I've been thinking, I'd like to apply. The words hang in the air. For a moment, the only sound is the rain, relentless and steady. Julian blinks, caught off guard. Oh, that's unexpected. Ivy removes one earbud, her expression neutral. That's cool, Mom. Leo offers a half smile, already drifting back into his thoughts. Julian sets down his spoon, voice gentle but hesitant. Maya, are you sure you'll have the time? Between Ivy's college visits, Leo's robotics, and everything else? I mean, who's going to manage dinner or help with rides after school? A prick of hurt flares in Maya's chest. I can make time, she says, trying to keep her tone even. I've managed everything for years. Julian frowns, brow furrowing. I just don't want you to get overwhelmed. You already do so much. Maybe this isn't the right moment. Maya interrupts, voice trembling. When will it be the right moment? When Leo graduates? When Ivy leaves for college? When you retire? She swallows hard, staring at her hands. I've been waiting for the right moment for half my life. Ivy and Leo shift in their seats, suddenly attentive. The atmosphere tightens, the room shrinking with every word. Julian's voice is soft, uncertain. Maya, She looks up, her eyes shining with frustrated tears. Do you know how long it's been since anyone asked me what I wanted? What I dreamed about? Her voice cracks. I loved architecture. I had plans, ambitions, before any of you even knew what you wanted to be. Ivy's eyes widen. Mom, I didn't know. Maya's breath comes fast, her chest aching with the release of years of silence. I gave up interviews, turned down offers, stayed home when all I wanted was to try. I told myself it was for you, because I wanted you all to have every opportunity. But somewhere along the way, I just disappeared. Leo's voice is tentative, small. You never said anything. Maya lets out a shaky laugh, a sound somewhere between relief and regret. I didn't want to make you feel guilty. I thought if I just kept going, it would feel worth it. But lately, I don't recognize my own life. I feel like a ghost in this house. No one speaks. The rain drums against the glass, relentless. Julian's face is pale, his jaw clenched. Maya, I'm sorry. I never realized. Maya looks at him, searching his face for understanding. I know you all have dreams. I've done everything I could to help you reach them, but I need you to see me too, even if it's just for one thing that matters to me. Ivy pushes her phone aside, her voice quiet. You should do it, Mom. You should apply. Leo nods, his eyes earnest. Yeah, I can take the bus to robotics. I'll figure it out. Julian's shoulders sink, guilt flickering across his features. He reaches for Maya's hand. I'm sorry I didn't see how much you were giving up. I'll help more. I promise. You deserve this. A heavy silence settles over the table, but it's different now. Charged not with tension, but with possibility. Maya's confession hangs in the air, raw and undeniable. For the first time in years, she feels seen. Ivy looks at her, a small, hopeful smile tugging at her lips. Maybe you could show me your sketches sometime? Maya's heart swells. She nods, unable to trust her voice. Julian squeezes her hand. We'll make it work, Maya. I want you to have your chance. Leo grins. Can I help with the model building? I'm good with 3D prints. The hard edges of the moment soften. Hope flickers in the warm light of the kitchen. The family, for the first time, gathers not around Maya's support, but around her dream. Later, as Maya stands at the window, watching the rain blur the city lights, she feels something shift within her. She's still afraid, of failing, of disrupting the fragile balance they've built. But for the first time, she's not alone in that fear. She turns, hearing the sounds of her family cleaning up behind her. Ivy hums as she helps Leo load the dishwasher. Julian wipes crumbs from the counter, glancing at Maya with a quiet, apologetic smile. Maya picks up her sketchbook from the kitchen table. She runs her hand over the cover, her reflection faint in the glossy surface. The house she drew this morning, her house, waits within, lines crisp and full of possibility. She breathes in, slow and deep, letting the reality settle. Her dreams have not vanished. They've been waiting, quiet, patient, just beneath the surface, for her to speak them aloud. Outside, the rain finally slows. The city glows brighter, alive with movement and promise. Inside, Maya opens her sketchbook to a blank page, pencil poised. For the first time in years, she draws not for someone else, but for herself. And this time, everyone is watching. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet Maya hadn't heard in years. A gentle hush, broken only by the distant hum of rain and the soft clatter of Ivy's piano keys drifting down the hallway. Dinner was over, dishes done. Julian had helped dry, Leo had volunteered to clear the table without being asked, and Ivy had actually offered to pack her own lunch for the next day. Small gestures, maybe, but Maya felt each of them settle inside her like the first rays of sunlight after a long Seattle winter. She stood in the doorway of the living room, sketchbook in hand, watching her family. Julian was sprawled on the couch with Leo, both laughing over a robotics video. Ivy, headphones on, typed furiously on her laptop, College essays, probably. But she glanced up at Maya and smiled. A real smile. Not the distracted kind she'd worn for months. Maya took a deep breath and stepped into the room. No one shushed her or rolled their eyes. No one seemed annoyed that she was interrupting. Instead, they all looked up, waiting. For the first time in a long time, Maya felt seen. "I have an announcement," she said, voice steady but soft. "I submitted my portfolio to the community project. They want me to come in for an interview next week." Julian sat up straighter. "That's amazing, Maya. Really?" Leo grinned. "Does that mean you'll help design the new rec center?" Maya nodded, heart pounding. "If all goes well, yes. I'll be volunteering a few hours every week." Ivy set her laptop aside and crossed the room to hug her mother. "I'm proud of you, Mom." Maya closed her eyes for a moment, letting herself feel the warmth of her daughter's arms, the simplicity of being appreciated, not for what she did for everyone else, but for who she was. Julian, his gaze gentle, reached for her hand. "We can figure this out together," he said quietly. "I know I've been distracted. I want to support you the way you've supported all of us. I mean it." A quiet laugh bubbled up in Maya's chest. She had spent years believing that if she ever asked for more, the fragile balance of her family would shatter. Instead, she found, almost to her own surprise, that asking for what she needed made them stronger. They all sat together that night, rain tracing ribbons down the window panes, and talked about schedules, about college, about Julian's looming work deadline, about Leo's next robotics competition, and about Maya, her hopes, her interview, the sketches she'd hidden away for years. The conversation wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that was enough. The following week, Maya prepared for her interview. Camilla, her oldest friend, arrived early that morning, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee and a tote bag stuffed with fabric swatches and color palettes. "Ready to take on the world?" Camilla teased. Maya smiled, nerves fluttering. "Ready to take on one small corner, for now." Camilla squeezed her shoulder. "That's how all the best architects start." They drove through the city together, past familiar parks and coffee shops, the skyline rising gray and hopeful against the drizzle. At the community center, Maya was greeted by a team of volunteers, each one eager to see her portfolio. She talked through her designs, her ideas for open spaces and natural light, her vision for a welcoming place where families could gather, where people like her could find a little room for themselves. When the interview ended, the director shook her hand. "We'd be lucky to have you, Maya. Welcome to the team." On the drive home, Maya sat quietly, watching rain bead across the windshield. She thought about the years she'd spent putting her family first, swallowing her ambitions, convincing herself it was selfish to want something just for her. She thought about the way Julian and the kids had rallied, the way Camilla had cheered her on, the way even the small act of asking for help had changed the air in their house, and she realized something simple but profound. She hadn't been invisible. She'd just never asked to be seen. That night, over takeout noodles and mismatched chopsticks, Julian proposed a toast. "To Maya," he said, raising his glass of ginger ale, "for reminding us that dreams don't have an expiration date, and that taking care of yourself is the best way to take care of everyone else." Ivy and Leo clinked their glasses together, grinning. Camilla, who joined them for dinner, wiped at her eyes. Maya laughed, cheeks flushed. "Thank you for seeing me." She noticed that the vase of daisies on the table had been replaced, fresh, their yellow petals bright against the gray evening. Ivy must have picked them up on the way home. A small detail, but it meant everything. Days went by, and the rhythm of the house shifted. Not all at once. Old habits die hard. Sometimes Maya still caught herself falling into the background, but more often she found herself at the center, her own needs, her own dreams, carrying weight alongside everyone else's. She worked on the community project, sketching plans late into the night, her pencil tracing the outlines of possibility. She joined weekend meetings, led design sessions, mentored a group of local teens interested in architecture, including Leo, who shyly asked if he could help with the 3D models. Julian took over more chores without being asked. Ivy checked in about Maya's deadlines, offering to help with meal prep when rehearsals ran late. Leo, emboldened by his mother's example, signed up for a robotics hackathon, inviting Maya to watch his presentation. One Saturday, after a long day at the rec center, Maya returned home to find the family waiting. Julian had cooked her favorite soup. Ivy had made a playlist of her mother's favorite songs. Leo handed Maya a small, neatly wrapped box. Inside, she found a new set of sketching pencils and a note. "Thank you for showing us how to dream." Maya blinked back tears. The sky outside had finally cleared, the last of the rain dissolving into a golden dusk. She stood at the window, watching as sunlight spilled across the rooftops, and felt, for the first time in years, at home in her own life. Some evenings, she still woke before dawn, unable to sleep. She would make her way quietly to the kitchen, settle at the table with her sketchbook, and draw. But now, she didn't hide her work when the family woke up. Julian would sit across from her, cradling his coffee, asking questions about her latest project. Ivy would lean over her shoulder, offering suggestions for a music nook in the rec center. Leo would show her his latest robotics design, seeking her architectural insight. And Maya would smile, her heart lighter, knowing that her dreams didn't have to come at the expense of those she loved. They could grow together. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever put your own dreams on hold for someone else, Maya's journey is a reminder that it's never too late to be seen. Sometimes all it takes is the courage to speak up, and the willingness to let those around you help carry the load. So, what about you? Have you ever put your dreams on pause for someone else? How did you find your way back? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if Maya's journey inspired you, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about real people finding their voice. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of inspiration. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve to have our dreams noticed and to finally notice ourselves.